fancy intro music. Yeah! Woohoo!
Welcome back, everybody. Today, taking a look at Wormmaddas. We told you it was coming, and we kind of prefaced it in yesterday's video that we would focus on crewing and how to take down Armadas. But what I want to say is, after going through multiple live streams here on Twitch and on YouTube, and if you haven't joined the Twitch channel, greatly encourage you to. It's twitch.tv/Rev Deuce. Will be live there tonight going through some more of this. We have more Wormmadas events than we probably have ever had at one given day, where we have 6 of these bad boys, including a new style. One thing that I have found talking to a lot of the players is y'all don't realize how high you can actually punch up. Most of the players in this game can hit the rare Armadas. I want to explain why that's important. If you actually see me back out, you'll see that's what my alliance and stuff are doing. We're only running rares. We're not doing anything else. Rares only right now as we go through this process. Now, why is that? So let's take a look at the various events. Now, if you are too low for this, I do think that this event can still be better for some players, particularly those who are in the low mid-20s, low 30s. But I'll talk about that towards the end. What I want to focus on now is what we're seeing here on this account, the leaderboard, 2 SMS events, which both of these give you a completionist trophy for attendee, an ALB, an AMS, and then last but not least, a newer style of event called the starter bonus, and described in the news channel as a Kobayashi Maru style event. And what that is meant to imply, you're not meant to beat it. If you do, fantastic. You'd have to spend like $500 in the store to buy enough Doomsday Armada packs to do it, but whatever. It's meant to give you a bonus. So if you are going for like the solo leaderboard, you're going to continually get a payout above that of the regular SMS. So it helps you justify spending the tokens. Now, Doomsday directives, remember, uncommons cost 1 to launch, rares cost 50. So what I've gotten a lot of is people saying, well, if I want to score the most in my leaderboard, I should be going for the uncommons. And I think if you're doing that, you're missing the point of what this event is trying to do. It's trying to source you officers. Even if you finished at the very top of your bracket, let's say I won 500 salvage parts. How many did I have to do in terms of uncommon armadas to take first place? Because the problem with the uncommon armadas with worms is they don't pay anything but par steel. They're trash. They're terrible. They are a waste of your time. If you disagree, tell me why. I can't imagine why you would, but if you do, I want to hear your opinion. If you disagree, let me know. But the value in these events is that it's allowing you to source officers that are difficult to source in the game. You now have the ability to do that by getting salvage parts. Rares start paying out salvage parts. Now, if you will take a look at my logs, you'll see that we've been running rares, and I even ran an epic for my higher level players. Why did Rev run an epic for his higher level players? Because it paid out 7,500 points. And as you can imagine, higher level players have higher milestones when it comes to the Armada for the alliances. So I did this as a thank you because they were running a lot of epics that I get to participate in. So where you're at in your alliance is going to matter. The more active you are and the more active your alliance is, the better it is for everybody trying to score in these events as we go through. Now take a look back into our Doomsday events. So that's your solo leaderboard. You will get technically more points going with just the level 39s, but you will get more value going for rares because we're focusing on salvage parts. Now, if you're starting with level 40s, a lot of you are going to say, well, the level 40s are just too hard. I simply can't compete. Yes, you can. It is relatively easy for a group of players in the 30s to beat a 40 or a 43 rare Armada. You think I'm lying, but I'm not. I'm going to prove it to you in just a second. One last thing that I want to kind of cover in the Doomsday event is that you're getting sourcing through both SMSs and your attendees, so do not forget it. You're going to want those Doomsday directives. Now, let's talk about actually scoring in this event. Crewing. You'll see one of the crews that I am running, and there are many crews that you can run. I am currently running this right here, 5-6 Con. Now, Con, everybody starts getting level 28 and above. Everybody should have Con who's doing rare Armadas. 5 of 11, a little bit harder, but everybody should probably have. And if you follow every content creator's advice and you have transporter patterns, you should have 6 of 11. Now, if you don't have this set, don't worry. This is not the end all be all. I promise you. And you do not have to have a Valdor to do it. I promise you, these are very, very doable. If you are a player with a rare 32 ship, Burrell, Gladius Intrepid, or an epic Augur D4 Enterprise, you can do rares. Listen to me. You can do rares. I don't care what your alliance told you. I don't care what you think that you've tried out. I promise you, you can do them. Understanding why and how, though, is probably where you're getting caught up on, or where your alliance is getting caught up on. First point, let me do this. I'm going to use my Enterprise to scan. And I'm actually going to swap out of my Enterprise and swap to my D4. Because my D4 is tier 5. It's a little bit more relatable for all of you. Not everybody has a max Enterprise. I get that. So let's take a look at the D4. Scan. What makes these armadas not that strong? Nice graphics actually showing up for once. Good job, Scopely. Hit the little info button. Look on the right side. Look at the defense. See the armor, shield deflection, and dodge stats? 113,000. So honestly, not that high. That's not I mean, I can show you some of the D-Space armadas where they're like 500, 600,000. So if you look at my D4, a tier 5, which is a very reasonable ship to have for a lot of you, it's currently sitting at 160,000 armor piercing with 546,000 DPR. So it's going to create a good amount of damage. But the main issue that I want to show you here, the main reason I want to show this is because I have this, that thing's mitigation is not going to be insurmountable. And we'll see some logs to prove that here in a little bit. Tier 5 Epic, pretty approachable, pretty palatable for most players who have easily going to contribute to win this. Now, many of you are wanting proof, so by golly, Miss Molly, let me give you some proof. Shout out to JB once again. This is Spock's Dock Club. Spock's Club, which I made a video about a couple months ago, using this as a log parser. Now, I want you to know, this is a 5-person armada. Five. Count them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 ships. Augur, 2 Enterprises, D4. I'm sorry, 3 Enterprises, D4, Augur. They won handily. Not even the best crewed out ones, and that's not to be calling anybody out, but usually, like, take, for example, the Augur that was running, a Nero run. I'm not generally going to recommend a Nero run. It's fine if somebody's using that, but they ran Riker, Crusher, Nero, given the bonus damage to the Augur. It makes a little bit of sense. If there were more Augurs, I would have loved it a little bit more, but there's only 1 Augur. If it would have been 5 Augurs, fine. But you won handily. Hey, Rev, maybe those are just really, really big ships. Okay. How about another one here? How about this one that's got a Saladin and an Intrepid with 2 Enterprises and Augur? They won. Wait, what about this one? Whoa. 4 ships, 2 Enterprises, Augur, and a Legionary? It's possible, everybody. I'm telling you, it is possible. It comes down to understanding crewing. Now, the Legionary provided nothing. So essentially what you have, you're looking down at the bottom, it survived only 10 rounds. Essentially what you have is crewing and research. Now let's take a look at details. Why did it work for this group right here? Kumak, Vimit, Nero. That's a very common run. It's not a high-end Armada run by any means, but it is a common Armada run for lower level players, lower 30 players. You can run that. Kumak giving you some stat boosting. It's going to help you boost your actual percentages of things like your officer stats. Nero giving you the burning to activate, and then Vimit with the strip. Moving on to the other, right next to it. 5 of 11. James T. Kirk, Khan. An extremely popular Enterprise Armada run. And very common. You should have Kirk, if you go Federation as one of your factions, you should have Kirk by level 20, level 22-ish. You'll have him already. Khan, you'll start getting handed to you at level 28. 511, there's some RNG there in terms of recruiting, but very capable to get. Moving on, Jordy Laforge, James T. Kirk, Beverly Crusher. Jordy Laforge is basically doing the exact same thing as 5. So don't look at that and be like, oh, that's the special crew that set it apart. No. Literally, Beverly and Jordy are what 5 of 11 does in 1 officer for this particular set. Now, if that person had Jordy and 5 of 11 in Kirk, they would be running a cargo crew, basically getting as many resources from the Armada as they can. And then finally, far right, James T. Kirk, Spock, McCoy. They ran a full morale crew on their Legionary. I also want to point out that this was a 40. They beat the Doomsday Fissure, level 40, with essentially what was a 4-ship, but really 3-ship armada. It comes down to crewing and understanding how crews work in the game. So you saw me, and I'll switch back. You saw me running 5-6 Khan on my Valdor, but you could run Kirk, Spock, Khan. You could run Riker, Beverly, Khan. You could run, gosh, there's so many crews. There's literally so many crews that you can run, y'all. You could have your alliance come together and run a critical build. What do I mean by critical? Let's say that everybody runs Kirk, Spock, Khan. I talk about that being like the most generic Armada crew in the game. Cool. Everybody wants to run Kirk Spot Con. One person change it up and run Kirk Spot Gorkon. Why? Because Gorkon creates hull breach on the Armada. Everybody else in the Armada can use hull breach. What does hull breach do? Gives you a background damage boost to critical shots. So you have your damage, your critical then does a multiplier, and then hull breach does another multiplier after that. So that means everybody else who brought con, punching even harder. There are crews that you can run. And if you don't know basic Armada crews, we've made videos. DJ's made podcasts. I'll answer specific questions in the comment section down below. In fact, we'll be really cheesy and I'll throw up the comment button right now. Here it is. You got questions? Now's the time to ask. But many of you players I've talked to who are level 34, 35, and even the lowers at 32s, 33s have been like, well, I have to do uncommons. My alliance is running uncommons. Y'all can run rares. And the reason that is important is if you start running rares, you're going to get these right here. Even if you only get 10, 5, 14, 15 at a time, run 20 of those. You've already run 10 of those. You've already done more value than you'll probably finish in your leaderboard. Run 20 of those. You've definitely got more value. And in an alliance that has 50 players and everybody's getting enough to run at least 2 to 3 rares. If they had nothing prior to this, that's 100 Armadas. This is a very doable thing for all of you. Now, there are some things that need to get adjusted in this event, and I am not disagreeing with that. Those players who have to do the uncommons need to have better sourcing for the officers. That's the whole point. That's the whole value of this event. And this is one of the reasons that I was so happy that they listened to people like me and DJ, because we said, hey, if you're going to run Doommadas, these are the things that you've got to do. You've got to do it this way. You've got to source out officers. And now you have that. You go to your officers tab, click on recruit, bam, right there. Doomsday resistance chest. Open it up. 50 per run. 50 per run. I just got TOS Kirk, TOS Uhura, 2 checkoffs, and 2 projectile shards. That's the value. And that is proof that you can do it out there, even if you have felt like you can't, or your alliance has told you it's not possible. And I will gladly help you do that. And if you need help, want help, or just enjoy the video, smash the like button, hit subscribe so that you can get notified of every time I go live and every time videos are dropping all over the place. Live long and prosper. Stay safe for those Space Cowboys. Deuces, that's me. I'll catch you on the next one. We outie. And I hope I could help out. I really do.
An even better outro than the intro. For the Empire and glory to your house.